Welcome back for Chapter 16. I'm Lloyd Dobler. Yeah, I am that Lloyd Dobler, the teenager in the trench coat and the boombox held to the heavens, serenading Diane Court like a lovesick Jedi dropout. But that version of me is a prequel from long ago. Another millennia of VHS-era ghost frozen between a Peter Gabriel song and an unrealized and, spoiler alert, unsuccessful future in kickboxing. But if you came here for teenage angst and the grand gestures of rom-com films, I should let you know now. I've only got a bum knee. I've got a meditation cushion that once smelled like teen spirit, but now smells like midlife mischief. So yeah, I am that Lloyd Dobler, and welcome to the Tao of Lloyd, a podcast where I take one chapter of the Tao Te Ching at a time and I shine it on American politics like a black light shining on the sheets of a heart-shaped bed in a motel that rents by the hour. 'Cause that's a podcast niche you did not know you needed until, well, welcome to America 2025 and welcome to the Tao of Lloyd. Today, I want to share with you a near-death experience I had recently involving one of America's favorite pastimes. I'm talking about road rage. So, I'm driving, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm at a red light, and because, like you, my dopamine addiction to that cell phone device resting in the passenger seat sometimes wins out over my still fledgling spiritual practice to just sit there and be. So I open up Twitter on my phone, and I see Pete Hegseth tweeting a picture of himself as a soldier in full tactical gear and guns and ammo. He's in Iraq. It's 20 years ago. The caption says, "Our platoon, 20 years ago today, Baghdad, Iraq. Pre-air assault raid." And I thought, look at this bag of douche Pete Hegseth. The man who rebranded the Department of Defense as the Department of War and treats geopolitics like a bar fight that he's been waiting his whole life to start. He is the weaponization of ignorance, I think, sitting there at the red light in my car, the glamorization of militarism with a swaggering confidence of a man who boldly shows off his white nationalist tattoos like he's auditioning to be the cover model for Crusader Cosplay Quarterly. This is the man deciding whose country gets turned into the backdrop for the next Fox News story selling us another war and pimping for the military-industrial complex. And so I'm sitting there at the red light. And I retweet the Hegseth tweet with my own tweet, and I write, "The Iraq War was an illegal, immoral invasion that broke a nation, birthed ISIS, and left the United States wondering why karma keeps sending invoices." And I hit send. Because, you know, a sharply worded tweet is exactly how a man like me, who hosts a podcast about non-reactivity, should definitely engage with a guy who commands a military budget larger than the next 12 countries combined. I mean, in addition to its being equivalent of picking a fight with a tank using a kazoo, it's also the spiritually evolved equivalent of teaching a grizzly bear about non-attachment while taping salmon to your torso. So yeah, I admit it, I've got some work to do on myself. And so do you. So do you. But then, just then, a pickup truck the size of a tank with one of those gigantic Make America Great flags flying out the back rolled up beside me at the light, and I did something I am not proud to admit, but it's the inciting incident for my near-death experience. I rolled down my window, I held my left hand up as high as I could, I flipped him the bird, and I shouted, "Donald Trump would trade your future for a Diet Coke and a soggy-ass Big Mac. Quit the fucking cult." And then I sped in front of him in merging traffic, and he stepped on the gas and cranked the Kid Rock anthem up to 11. I'll tell you the rest of this harrowing near-death experience of a story, which, again, I'm not bragging of, I'm not proud of, but in which there may be some kind of a lesson after this much needed stillness for the meditation and our reading for this chapter. So, if you're somewhere that you can safely do it, I invite you to close your eyes. Or don't. I mean, whatever. But really now, why not just close your eyes to start the journey within? I mean, what have you got to lose? Unless you're zigzagging through armored vehicles, dodging pepper spray while shutting down an ice raid, or navigating a Trader Joe's parking lot at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, all activities for which you should keep your eyes open. But if not, just go ahead and close your eyes and start the journey within. Good. Let's get comfortable. Take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. And let it go. Breathing out through your nose like you're blowing into a Nintendo cartridge, because that always somehow still works. Breathe in and let it go. Good. And this is chapter 16 of the Tao Te Ching. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. And that is chapter 16 of the Tao Te Ching. When death comes, you are ready. Now, back to the story. I held my left hand up as high as I could. I flipped him the bird. I yelled that Donald Trump would trade your future for a Diet Coke and a soggy-ass Big Mac line, and I sped in front of him into merging traffic, and he stepped on the gas and cranked his Kid Rock anthem up to 11. And there we are, suddenly reenacting a Fast and Furious chase scene, if Fast and Furious were directed by Wes Anderson and everyone really drove kind of badly. I cut across 2 lanes. He followed. I hit 64 in my shitty old Prius. He hit 104 in a truck compensating for 3 different childhood wounds. I finally swerved into a strip mall with a Whole Foods and an abandoned multiplex where raccoons now do community theater. He followed me, and we exited our cars like absolute idiots preparing for a duel to the death. I mean, cue the Western duel music. He marched toward me with the kind of vengeance usually reserved for Greek tragedies. He looked like Guy Fieri, but lumpier and much, much angrier. Like he just finished shooting 3 successive seasons of diners, drive-ins, and drives, and someone swapped his Pepto-Bismol with some cheap whiskey. And there we were. 2 dudes in America, 2025, filled with a rage whose exact source we probably could not identify, both of us navigating some crisis without a safe word. He checked me out, and I don't know what he saw, but in truth, I don't look all that threatening. Aside from my kickboxing career, which ended with a 6-win, 17-loss record as an amateur, I had not really been in a fight with anyone since that time in 8th grade at the roller rink when Billy Genovese beat me into submission in front of a girl I was asking out during the snowball. And even though I had skates on, he was in Adidas shell tops and thus had an unfair advantage, it still left me with no real-life experience that would give me any confidence that I could win this fight with this angry Guy Fieri, who, did I mention, is still moving toward me. And I thought about chapter 16. this chapter you are listening to right now and the writer's block I was having about it. And I thought, empty your mind, Lloyd. Don't suppress your thoughts, but rather step back from them. See. There's this concept in Zen called the mirror mind. The mirror mind. And as I understand this mirror mind concept, it goes something like the mirror never refuses to show anything. It also doesn't retain anything after it's gone. And the mind should be like a mirror in that way. And this thinking made me see this other guy, this Guy Fieri, marching towards me as me. I mean, cosmically speaking, that is. We're one. I mean, enlightenment really picks its moments, huh? So I don't think I had the words that he could hear to express the ancient beauty or mysticism or whatever that suddenly came over me as I stared down the man moving towards me with a truly impressive spew of curse words and venom and creative phrases that all ended with promises that he would, quote, kill me, you radical left commie fuckface. I mean, the kind of threats that seemed empty in the high school hallway, but in this sparsely populated parking lot seemed to bring with them a percentage of probability somewhere safely above zero. And without thinking, I raised my hand, not to hit him, but in the universally understood gesture for stop, which miraculously he did. Perhaps he stopped out of curiosity to how I would respond to his verbal dexterity, to see if my chest-pumping verbal game was on his level. Or perhaps it occurs to me now, he stopped out of the same fear I was feeling about serious injury or even my life ending. I mean, have you seen adults fight in a parking lot? Who's going to break it up? The Amazon delivery drivers? I don't think so. They're on a tight schedule. And I thought, how sad if the final chapter of my life would be something that began with my inability to regulate my emotions after reading a tweet from Pete fucking Hegseth. And I look at Guy Fieri over there, fuming, huffing, and puffing his big bad wolf self, and I hear the following words come out of my mouth. If you take one more step towards me, I promise that you will define your life from here on out as a before and after moment. And the after moment part of your life will be filled with pain, regret, a catheter, and a multitude of other unpleasantries. Unpleasantries? What did I just say? The words came out of my face very calmly. And then I squatted into a crouch. Something like I had seen Bruce Lee do before he fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the film Game of Death. But I am not Bruce Lee, and this was all a bluff. He repeated a few of his string of spaghetti curses and threats, but I said nothing. I just channeled Bruce Lee and looked into his eyes. He was me, I thought, if I had grown up with different circumstances. But if he had decided to call my bluff and engage in a fight, I don't think I'd be speaking into this mic right now. But here I am. Eventually, he left. I remained crouched like Bruce Lee long after he was out of eyesight, his MAGA flag waving in the wake of his gas-guzzling truck, Kid Rock blasting, middle fingers waving. I brought this on myself. I've got to do better than this, I thought. And then, finally, I left my Bruce Lee stance and purchased not one, but 3 slices of stale pizza from the Whole Foods prepared food section and ate them all in my creaky old Prius in that sad parking lot, knowing this much gluten was going to wreak havoc on my insides and promising to be better tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll get ready. Tomorrow, I'll be better. Join me from the edge of the empire and the center of self. This is the Tao of Lloyd. Hey, before you go, I've got an invitation for you to support the end of the year fundraising push for this podcast. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting it with a monthly contribution of whatever amount you're comfortable with on our Patreon page. You'll find the links to that Patreon page in the show notes or description wherever you are listening right now. You can think of the podcast as the mixtape. That's free for everyone all the time. Patreon is the liner notes. And Lloyd Dobler, the fictional voice, gets to say the wild, tender, furious things we sometimes can't. And I'm Dennis Traynor Jr. I'm the real person making this thing, writing it, recording it, producing it, publishing it. And I step out on Patreon once in a while to talk about the writing, about my life in activism, my own spiritual journey. So consider supporting the work on Patreon. It keeps this project alive. Thank you.